Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
The Dangerous Brown podcast, hosted by Ehsan Ahmad, former Spoil the Beans co-host, stand-up comedian, funny podcast that I don't know how long it's been going, but it has a feel of in the early stages, let's say. Because of the pandemic and the massive exodus from Los Angeles, Ehsan is one of the many comedians who has left the city. And because of that, Spoil the Beans has changed its format a bit. Derek Poston, who is the host of Spoil the Beans, now has on, it seems like, a different guest each week to spoil a movie the guest has never seen. Ehsan was the kind of the resident guinea pig in that experiment of being told and spoiled movies that had not been seen before, which I am kind of bummed at. I mean, the changing of the format changes the show pretty big. One, you're not getting the very end of the episode, which is technically the beginning of episodes structurally for that show. You're not getting the recap, which I enjoyed. Ehsan, not only did I enjoy, he had some fun guesses. How that show's Spoil the Beans is structured is the guest or Ehsan will have trying to guess what a movie is based on the title. Then Derek Poston would explain that movie in full detail from start to finish to Ehsan. And then that would be the end of the episode. And between episode, Ehsan would watch the movie. In the beginning of the next episode, it would start with Ehsan's recap. The recap of the movie and the discussion that Ehsan and Derek Poston would have was a lot of fun, was a big enjoyment of that show, and a reason why I wish that show had been formatted differently to encapsulate the movie completely. If you're going to be doing a movie on Apocalypto, as a listener, I would enjoy the beginning of the episode being Ehsan's prediction, the middle of the episode being the movie being told by Derek Poston, and the end of the movie being Ehsan's recap. That way, when you go to the Apocalypto episode, you get all three sections of that movie all in one. But things have changed from that. Ehsan is up in Southern California now, where Derek, I think, is on the East Coast, or at least, I don't know if he's moving around a lot or just traveling or whatever. So no longer the regular. I'm sure he'll be on as a guest from time to time. But yeah, Ehsan is up doing comedy sometimes when he can. I mean, we are still in a pandemic. So he is funny. He's also very smart, Ehsan. Despite not having seen many movies, he understands storytelling. He understands structure. He understands the ability to tell a story, which made Spoil the Beans even better. When he would be listening to, he would be calling out a lot of dumb shit movies would be doing for Spoil the Beans. Where Dangerous Brown is not a movie podcast by any stretch of the imagination. It is more current events. He also likes to talk about history. He does some regular segments on the show. It's called Dangerous Brown because Ehsan is a brown person, and he came up around I believe that, if I had to guess, the origins of the name Dangerous Brown is because he would tour with Brendan Schaub, who is Big Brown, I think was his nickname. So I would imagine that maybe Dangerous Brown was a nickname that he was bequeathed while touring with Brendan Schaub. I wonder how difficult it is to tour with a comedian that you know you're funnier than, but they're just already famous. No, I'm really not a fan of Brendan Schaub in a lot of ways, but I am a fan of Hassan, and I would imagine the Dangerous Brown title came from that. His touring days with Brennan, and he looks like he could easily be commonly pulled aside for random screenings at airports. But I love the guy, man. I like his humor is great. I love his intelligence. Um, so watching this podcast is great. He's also great. He knows a lot about history, which I enjoy. He likes being educated on things, despite the fact that he likes to also bullshit about what he knows. He also is drawing upon a lot of knowledge, which I appreciate. But some of the like kind of segments he's done more recently, he went over uh, electoral maps and how they've looked in past elections, and how our current electoral map has compared. And it was amazing. It's amazing to see not only what elections looked like before all 50 states were part of the union. He went back to like what the maps look like during like the Civil War. It came like there was a map where there was actually three parties kind of represented. There was a few maps, but there was one where actually the third party got close. Had a pretty big majority, which was interesting. There's a lot, and there's some that were like blowouts, which were amazing, and how like I would imagine what Republican and Democrat stood for back in the days was completely different than now. Like California used to be Republican, the South used to be heavily Democrat, but like just because they were labeled the same like branding, I would imagine the messages and what they stood for was quite different. But yeah, that was a really fun, interesting episode. He's at times discussed presidential dick energy, which is a fun segment. He's had a segment where he breaks down the Bible, where he's reading the Bible, the Christian Bible, and he's breaking it down, which is an interesting look. Just interesting to listen to somebody who is knowledgeable, who's intelligent, who's going through, who wants to take the time to read the Bible, and then parse out all of the ridiculousness that's inside that book. Um, and then he's also had his mom on as a guest, she's fun to listen to. Very intelligent woman herself, and just a lot of great episodes. I've really enjoyed the podcast. I kind of I will the podcast that I'm subscribed to and will listen to or watch is constantly a revolving door. Some podcasts I will listen to and watch, like Kill Tony. I have unsubscribed from Kill Tony multiple times. Currently is a time where I am unsubscribed to that show. But there are times where it's my favorite show, and I'll probably eventually go back to it and just watch or listen to the shows that I've missed. I've unsubscribed to a ton of MMA podcasts. At one point, I was a fan of Fighter and the Kid, but you get to a point where you just like sometimes hosts' opinions of things, because politics and just real life changes. I just get really exhausted listening to people defend ignorance. And there's anybody who's like defending this anti-science kind of point of view, or this ultra right-wing perspective, anybody that thinks that Trump has actually done good things for the country. Like there's a lot of things where it's just I can't listen to bullshit anymore. And despite the fact that Kill Tony is, I think Tony Hinchcliffe is really the only conservative on the show. Everybody else seems to have pretty liberal points of view. He is still the host, and he's been known to just be annoying. He's not afraid to stand his ground despite whatever, and it is what it is. But I have because I unsubscribe to a lot of podcasts, it means I subscribe to a lot of new podcasts. So in addition to this week, there's the next few weeks, I'm going to be recommending new podcasts that I've been listening to. So if you are looking for something, I would recommend Dangerous Brown. I watch it on YouTube. There's not visually, with the electoral maps, he put up the maps for you to see, which I enjoyed. He talked about the Ba'ath rebellion in Iraq in a recent episode, and he showed clips of like this press conference of where politicians were executed outside of this news conference. Very interesting the topics he brings up, and it looks like he puts a lot of energy into it. So I'm in. I enjoy it so far, and I'm excited to see where the show goes. But there's other shows that I'll be talking about in coming weeks that you should check out as well. But anyway, check out Dangerous Brown. I subscribe to Ehsan Ahmad's YouTube page, but it's also available on all podcast apps. And check it out. I enjoy it. Also, Spoil the Beans, which is still a podcast that I enjoy, and I'll probably talk about the show and how it's changed over time, probably coming up in a few weeks as well. Make sure you support our sponsor, Ting, and get yourself $25 in credit by going through my link, inspireddisorder.com/Ting. Ting is a cell phone service that has great service all over the place. They use all the major networks to perform their service, but you only pay for what you use. So if you're at home, you're on Wi-Fi all the time, you're going to have extremely low monthly bills. So get yourself $25 in credit to either buy yourself a new phone or bring your old phone over and save money starting now. Use my link, inspireddisorder.com/Ting. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!